Hi, I'm Arthur Kanegis, the director of the forthcoming film, The World is My Country. In light of all the news about Yasiin Bey and his world passport, we thought it important to release this excerpt to let the world know about the origins of the world passport and what an important human rights tool this is for the world.
You are about to hear from an everyday man with an extraordinary life story. A story that may well give us a roadmap to a better future. He was an actor, a song and dance man who leapt off the Broadway stage onto the world stage in 1948, taking on cops, border guards, armies, and whole nations, showing us that we don't have to be awed by their props of power and control. We don't have to accept a world ravaged by war and plunging towards environmental disaster. For 65 years, as a citizen of no nation, only the world, Gary Davis made his own props of freedom, demonstrating that we, the people, can tear down the walls of oppression and write our own story. We can build a world that is constructive for all and destructive to none. As Vermont author Abigail Stone put it, Gary Davis opens the doors of our personal jail cells, hands us the rusty old key, and says, "Don't forget to dance on the way out." So now here he is, the man Buckminster Fuller called the New World Man, Mr. Gary Davis.
So then I went down to set up the administrative agency, which is now called the World Service Authority. And it's in Washington, 5 Thomas Circle. It's functioning right now. This is the international exit visa.
Yeah.
This is based upon Article 13, Section 2 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This doesn't mean that all governments are going to recognize this. This gives us a tool to claim our right. This is a bureaucratic tool because what is stopping us from leaving is their bureaucratic tool. In other words, the visa of control.
Yes.
So we say, okay, now we have our tool, we're neutralizing your tool, and we're claiming the right to leave. You see? This is the beginning of a whole new development in human rights.
We have been dying in this house from hunger, from diseases, from getting no shelter.
C'est une organisation religieuse.
It was a religious organization
qui est défendue dans notre pays,
which is forbidden in our country.
So we are asking for help. That's why we are applying for your passport.
Over the years, the administrative agency of our government has issued over 2 million world documents, all mandated by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Our office is flooded with requests. World citizens wanting world registration cards, stateless people wanting world ID cards with their picture on it, couples denied the right to marry, wanting world marriage licenses, refugees in squalid refugee camps desperate to have a travel document so that they can gain back their human identity. A good example are these Ogani refugees. We sent them world passports after they wrote saying they were kicked off of the land of their ancestors because Nigeria turned it over to the big oil companies. We get dozens of letters every day from people desperate for help. I'm a Liberian refugee. The rebels attacked and captured our town. We were beaten, tortured, molested. They killed my parents. I managed to escape secretly and cross into Guinea for sanctuary. He's in real trouble. The Peace Corps guys helped him write this letter. If he's a refugee, then he will get a free passport because he doesn't have any money. I come from Congo, Brazzaville. My father gunned down in front of my eyes and in the eyes of my mother and sister. Me and my brother were taken into training to the military camp. I was lucky to escape, and I also made my way to Italy through traveling on a boat by night. God was on my side. It took us 2 days in the sea before reaching Italy. So a friend of mine gave me the address to write to apply for any one of the passports. I beg you to accept my respect and my thanks that I feel inside very deep to my heart, that someone in the world is really conscious and helps really. the ones who need it, and that we're not lonely and powerless to get justice and feel dignity as human beings we are.
There are close to 55 million refugees and stateless persons around the world today. This is the worst refugee crisis in human history. If you live in a place where you have your home, your family, your friends, your language, your culture, you love it. You want to stay there. You're proud of it. But all of a sudden, if some marauding army or militia is coming after you, you got to get out of there. What happens if your country, because of global warming, becomes flooded with water? Who's going to take you in? Where do you go? They don't have time to get a document from the government. They need to flee immediately. And so we can come into the situation, issue them the documents as quickly as we can to get them something so that they can cross a frontier and show something. Because a border official, they won't stamp your hand. They want a piece of paper that they can look at and put a stamp in. Many individuals who don't necessarily need the passport for identification on a day-to-day basis like to get the world passport because it represents our one human family, our one earth. They want to identify, self-identify as world citizens. And a recent example is a rapper and actor named Yasiin Bey. And he obtained the world passport about a month ago.
My country is called Earth. This whole thing belongs to everybody that's on it. And if there's anything that I could do with my career, is to hopefully encourage the generations around me and after me to have that worldview.
He was trying to travel out of South Africa to go to a gig in Ethiopia, and he was stopped at the airport because of some officials who didn't understand what he was trying to do, and they didn't understand his document. We immediately sent a legal statement to the government through his attorney explaining the legal validity and recognition by the government of South Africa, including copies of stamps that we've got from the government. The most recent one, as you can see on our website here, in the last few months. And you can see there's a list of over 180 countries, territories, provinces all around the world. More than 90% of all countries that have placed visa entry and exit stamps on the world passport. Working at World Service Authority, some days I feel overwhelmed. There are so many crises in the world. All the wars and ecological disruption in the world today has meant there's been this flood of refugees that we try to deal with, but it's like a drop in the bucket. All these different human rights organizations, including World Service Authority, it feels like we're trying to put out fires here, there, and everywhere. It's like an old building with leaky gas pipes, and we can't patch them quick enough to stop the fires. What Gary Davis would say is shut off the whole gas main itself. That means creating new structures of law at the global level. And that's really what we're trying to do here, create those new structures. You could say that the use of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was the first step. The issuance of these world documents is the next step, but maybe a temporary fix. What we need is the third step, which is creating a world that works for everyone, and that's up to all of us.